Hello, everybody, and welcome to Knowledge is Power Podcast Live. And we're here today with our special guest. Uh, our special guest is going to be our Ward 4 City Councilman, Chris Durio. Hello, Chris.
Hey, everybody, how you doing?
All right, so you got a big old, got a standing ovation, son. Chris is the Ward 4 councilman in Beaumont, Texas. Usually handles the Chris. You handle most of the parish in central of Beaumont. So, but you did. You know, I have to start the show off this way. I'm welcome. Let me introduce my hosts, Tricia and Terry Roy and Chris. Where you go, Aunt Jones, and he's somewhere. He just disappeared. But you did something. Amazing. And I have to give you your props for it because for the first time you ran as a candidate and never even thought about being a candidate or it never came to your mind that you would be doing this, and you accomplished it on your first go round. That is unusual, and I want to applaud you with that. But so tell us about it. How did that all come to you? So that why you started doing that? What made you come say, "Hey, this is what I want to do"?
Well, it goes back. I tell everybody, in May of 2020, I was diagnosed with cancer, and I was going through that whole process, and I just prayed on that. And I used to, I think everybody knows I worked at the fire department for 31 years. And during that time, I did a lot of volunteer work in the community, Little League, at my school, kids' school, church, and things like that. I retired in 2017, and since I retired, I just been having fun, traveling and having a good time. And I kept saying I need to get back to doing stuff in the community. Well, when I came down with cancer, that was something I said, when I make it through this, I'm going to start volunteering again. That was something that I prayed on. And you got to be careful what you ask for, because this opportunity presented itself to me. And I decided to run. And I gave it my all. I had a lot of help. I had a lot of volunteers, and I worked really hard. I know if any of y'all have ever ran a campaign before, it's really hard work. I mean, it's every day, 15, 18-hour days. And but we did it, and we won. And that's how I came to this spot right now.
I was there with you at the beginning, and I said to myself, "Wait a minute." When first time we talked, I said, "We got to do a little work. We got to do a little practicing. We got to get it together." But man, I'm proud of you becoming the Ward 4 councilman, and you representing it well. So. One of my questions is, what is the progress and what have you learned? And it's almost been 1 year and 1 month, 2 years, or 1 year and 2 months.
1 year and 2 months.
Right. Since you've been in office, what have you learned as a city council? Because I always tell everybody, listen, don't rush yourself. Take your time, learn the job, because it usually takes 2 years to learn this job.
Yeah, it's a learning process. But one thing I have learned, everybody has great ideas, but you have to tell us how to pay for it. We got to find the money to pay for everything. I mean, if they don't just give us a card and somebody say, "Hey, I want to park," and we go and charge it. It's a process. You have to go through the budget process. And the thing about it, when you're newly elected, basically in May, June, and July, they already working on the budget. So when we got on there, us new guys, the budget was basically already made. So we didn't have much input on the 2022 budget. But now we're in the process of doing the 2023 budget, and I've been preparing for it since last year. I have a list of things that I would like to get done. But it's also some things that we are able to get done without having to go through the budget process. And also, people have to understand that when working with a municipal government, things just don't happen fast. Everything is a process. Some people think they snap their finger. Terry knows. and it gets done. And that's just not how it happened. I wish it was. I wish it did. Everything, like somebody called me and said, "Hey, I need this done. I need a brand new street." And I wish I could send them out there tomorrow and they could tear up the street and put a new street in. But when you're talking about millions and millions of dollars and transparency and things like that, you have to go through the process and you have to do things the right way. And it takes a while.
Yeah, it's right. It does take a while. What are some of the things that you're working on now for your ward? Because your ward is really the only one I see that has some progress in it.
Well, we always working on infrastructure. Right now, we're doing citywide ditching. You know about that one, Terry.
Yep.
And Ward 4 is getting some done also. We're getting ready to start. We're going to repave 4th Street all the way from Calder to Highway 69. We're restriping Sarah Street, and that's to help with the speeding. What we're going to do, we're going to restripe it, and we're going to make it one lane each way with a turning lane in the middle to help with the speeding, to slow it down.
Okay.
Because we've had some accidents and some speeding on Sarah Street. So we're doing that also. We, of course, y'all heard about Central Park, but we had some work done there. We redid the splash pad at Sprott Park. We're doing work at all the parks, really. And we're always working on the drainage, streets drainage. That's something that goes on constantly. We're going to do $16 million worth of work on the streets this year, another $16 million next year. So, I mean, that's something that does and that's another thing what I realized with streets and drainage, you never get finished. That's something you have to constantly keep up and you have to do all the time because and especially as the city grows and you make more streets, you have to keep that up. And when Ward 4 is one of the older parts of Beaumont, so the infrastructure is old. So it's always needed to be repaired or replaced.
Well, you know what I'm going to ask. What is your take on the water report?
I know I actually went out because I ride my ward a lot, and I went out while the Corona company was out testing the water, and I've read their report, and I know that we have done that directional flushing. I know exactly what it's about because when I worked at the fire department, we tested those hydrants and ran it constantly. I had brown water here at my house and called in about it, and they come out and they open hydrants and they flush it and get the sediment out of it. So I think that we're headed in the right direction. Hopefully, since we're going back to the source, we can stop it before it gets into the city. But in the meantime, we're working at the city, at the different mains in the city and getting that taken care of. That's another problem that I don't know if hopefully we'll be finished one day. I don't know if we ever will, but I know we'll work on it every day towards finishing it.
What is your position on the fact that we don't have a unidirectional flushing system down yet? And that comes directly from the Corona report. They said that there isn't one yet. That's the only kind of flushing that's going to provide any kind of fix. Yes, you can go out and open the hydrants and temporarily things will clear up, but it's going to get worse because you're actually just pushing it back and forth between areas.
That's why we're going back. They've gone back to the source of where the water is coming in the city, and that's where they start working on it there. And then they come back into the city and work on it.
That leads me to my next question. One of the biggest findings was that nothing was cleaned properly, and that it's half done now. What do you feel like should be done about that?
Of course, we want to do everything properly. I think our staff is doing a good job or trying to do a good job. I think they work hard on this every day. This is another thing, like I just said, you never get done with, and they're working on it every day because, of course, we want good water for our community and our citizens.
Well, I heard you say something, Chris, that it slipped by me, but I'm glad to hear it. 4th Street from Calder to 69. Man, that's going to be a great. I just can't say it no more because that street has been like you riding and you're in Iraq somewhere. And I don't even go down 4th Street to have my front end of my car. But man, it's good to hear that 4th Street is going to be.
It is good because 4th Street is a main thoroughfare right through the center of Beaumont. It actually goes across 3 different wards of Beaumont. So I'm glad, and the majority of it is in Ward 4. A lot of it is. So I'm glad that they're working on that, fixing that. It's a main thoroughfare through Ward 4.
It is. Let me ask this. Chris is next. Chris, Yes, you.
He's on mute.
Oh, he's on mute.
What's up, Doc?
What's going on, Royal? Man, I do apologize, everybody, listeners and watchers, for my technical difficulties. We are going through a little storm. I had a flicker in my internet, and I didn't want Tony to dog my internet.
Hey, there ain't no better than that cowboy shirt he wearing.
Hey, man.
Don't play, don't play.
Boy, I tell you,
What is
Let's
that
just
Chris
say,
got
don't
on?
play.
I don't know. I don't know.
Don't play.
Terry,
I can't see it.
it's almost
Hold on.
that time of the year. I see it coming.
This is not a cowboy shirt, especially coming from me.
Uh-huh.
This is a shirt from Ra, which is a locally owned black clothing store. This is a part of their clothes.
Okay, where's it located?
It's actually in Central Mall. It's in Preon Lake Mall. It's in Acadiana Mall, and it's in Parkdale Mall.
What is it called?
Ra, Raah.
Okay. Well, let them know we give them a plug.
Oh yeah, right.
Send the check.
Yes, yeah.
But again, I do apologize, especially to you, Councilman, for my tardiness on
All
this
right.
evening. But like I came in on just like the I guess like the unpeeling of the whole banana. You said 4th Street from Calder to 69.
Yes.
Yep.
Doc, you just don't know, man.
It's overdue. It's overdue.
That's way past overdue.
Phenomenal. That's phenomenal, and I will say that's like long overdue.
Oh yeah.
Like
Well, that's good.
yeah.
One thing about, and I tell everybody about being new on the city council, and I say that about me and my cohort, Councilman Turner. We don't know what we're not supposed to do, so we just do everything. Try to do everything, and we figure we're not supposed to do it. Somebody will let us know. So
Yeah, right.
we're gonna give it a shot.
I
Yeah.
understand that.
Especially when your constituents have been asking, not just you, but your predecessors, for years to resolve some of these issues. And these issues have been on capital projects or listed for capital projects and didn't make it. Different things like that. Sort of kind of turn the voting base to just a stagnant body. And I will say this does make a lot of difference. This makes a lot of difference to citizens, especially in the, like you said, in the wards that not only it touch, but every commuter that has to touch 4th Street.
That's true. And that's good, because we also there's some businesses that's opening up along 4th Street, and we want them to have good access to and from their businesses.
Exactly. That's not only attracting, their business, but it also attracts other businesses to an area, a developing area, or an already developed area. Because I mean, like, as far as I can remember, on 4th Street, it's always been diverse when it comes to commercial. You know, from one side to the next. So I do believe that this is going to make a huge difference in commerce and the economy that's going to build around the city investing in itself, which is something that the people have been asking for a long time.
When the city invests in itself, that attracts other people to the city.
Correct.
When we look at why we want developers and people to come for economic development and things like that, but why would anyone want to come to your city if you're not willing to invest in it yourself?
Exactly.
So you have to do that.
And not only that, Doc, but we as Beaumont residents and Beaumont citizens have the tools that y'all need. And if management continue to go outside of us to bring developments into this area where it not only makes us seem unheard as far as people that are, that have ideas, people that want to invest in the city, people that want to be able to develop. It behooves the management to use what they have here to pull from, to pull what they can use here. So, I mean, even when it comes to the contracting that may go out for 4th Street, and I understand, you know, most of the local streets, uh, you know, we have went with the local contractor. Especially, I remember Madison was done by a local contractor. Washington Boulevard. I know this side was also done by a local contractor. But again, like you utilize more of what you have here as an asset, because um, a lot of people that have the knowledge, the credentials, the you know the business, the business sense, um, you know, they want to be able to be a part of their city.
Yeah. Well,
And
we always want to use local labor because that's jobs for our city. That's jobs for our citizens. We always and it's a fine line. We want to use local labor. We want local contractors, but we also
correct.
have to be good stewards of the tax dollars of the citizens of Beaumont. So I mean, but always first and foremost, you know, we want to try to go local because we want our folks here working, and then we want them making those dollars and keeping those dollars here in Beaumont.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm
Yeah,
excited about that 4th Street project. I'm not gonna lie.
Right?
I'm excited about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know, like Chris. I know you said that the main problem with trying to get stuff fixed in Beaumont is money, but I think Beaumont right now is suffering from just neglect. Like especially where I live, it hadn't been really much work done over here in years. And you know, I come to the council meetings and express myself.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
I
we
don't
do.
think I'm beginning to think it's not really a money thing because a lot of issues that we have been going on for years, like 10 to 12 years. And I really don't think it's the money. You know, it may cost a lot more money than what we have, but if we had jumped on those things before you even got on council, like 10 and 12 years, it can't be the money. It has to be pure neglect. Do you think that's the truth? Because, like I say, a lot of issues have been going on for years when we did have the money.
I can't really address what happened before I got on
Yeah.
council. As far as working with staff, and I don't think they would just neglect to do their job. I knew though this you as a councilman, I think part of my job is when somebody in my ward or any constituent calls me about addressing a problem, I need to address that problem, and I need to go after not go after, but speak to a department head. You know, first got there, we talked to the city manager and he would do it. But I like to speak to the department heads and I always ask them, do they have a problem speaking to me? And most of them don't. We have a good relationship with all of them. But we also, this council has got it across to the city manager that the way it works is we tell you what we want done and you get it done, not the other way around. That's the way it's supposed to be. And that's what we think, that's what we want to do. And that's what we're doing it that way. That's the way I can speak for our council, I think. We tell them what we want done and we want y'all to get it done. You know, I've had some stuff. I was talking to some people, and they keep telling me the reasons why. No, I can't do it. We can't do it. We can't do it. We can't do it. I say, look, we want it done, and all I have to do to get it put on the agenda is get a second, get it put on the agenda, and then you have to address it. So the way our form of government works, city council tells the staff what we want done, and they supposed to do it, and that's what we're trying to do.
It definitely didn't always work that way.
I will say that. I will say, with the new council and the new direction of council, and how I guess this administration, this elected administration, is really, I'm not gonna say shucking your power or shoving your power, but you're operating accordingly, because like you said, it is incumbent on the council to give city management and the administration, which includes department heads and foremans, or whomever else, or in that trickle down effect. It includes even, like you said, the laborers, the employees of the city. to carry out that job effectively and efficiently. But I will say, and before this is something that I hope you all as a new council can really dig into and pull out, especially when it comes to some of the practices of administration and some of these teams that we have that works the city of Beaumont. Um, the respect of cutting concrete on my side is cutting it dry, and that's environmentally unsafe. But the effects of cutting concrete around other particulars, they go by the book, strictly by the book. Wet cut, I mean the whole 9 yards. It is redundant and ridiculous that we have departments or individuals in the same department that don't use the same practices among particulars or particular residents. That has to stop, Doc. That has to stop, because it doesn't. It not only it makes the city look horrible, especially when it comes to the treatment of other residents. You do have a biases that then plays amongst the community. You go over in one particular area and you cut, you do this, and it's done. It's efficient. It's done in 3 to 4 or 5 days instead of 3 to 4 to 5 months.
Hey, Chris, let me stop right here, Chris. Let me talk to the other Chris, my panel, Chris Johnson. Let me ask you something, Chris.
Which Chris?
Nah, not you, Chris, not my guest,
Okay.
Chris, but my host, Chris, my
Okay.
co-host, Chris. I got to catch it while I can, because he's got that internet Wi-Fi from Family Dollar Store. It's raining on his side of town, and we might lose it. And I just want to make sure. And that's the reason why I'm allowing him to do a lot of.
Terry, can I just address something real fast to the
Yes.
Dr. Chris? I understand exactly what you're saying. I can tell you, I hear it daily. When people call me about with a complaint about anything, and I'm just gonna be straight, which I hear it daily. I bet that don't happen in the West End. I hear it all the time.
And that's
every
why I
day.
didn't say the West
That's
End.
why I want
particular residents.
That's why I cut in. That's
Yeah,
why I cut in, because I wanted him to call names. I didn't want to just say one particular area.
Right.
Well, I mean, I know it doesn't. It doesn't. I understand exactly what you're saying, but I just want you to be aware that I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, sir.
And trying to, I want it equal all over. We all pay taxes, so everybody should be treated the same way and receive the same services in the whole city of Beaumont, no matter what ward or what part of Beaumont you live in. And I believe the whole council believes that. Most of the council believes that, and that they work hard for that. See, the thing about it, though, we really not supposed to be involved directly with personnel. We're supposed to just be involved with the city manager, or department heads, and that's about it.
Yeah,
because I can't, like, if I'm going down the street in Washington Boulevard and I see somebody dry cutting cement, I'm not supposed to pull over and say, "Hey, you doing that wrong." That's not really my job. That's not my purpose. That's not what I'm supposed to do, because it just then those guys got too many supervisors, and it's just not good for anybody.
And it makes you a micromanager, and I don't want you as my micromanager.
Yeah, actually, I've been to a few. We've been to a few classes.
Impose that on the incoming city manager, or whoever that may be, as well as you said, the access to particular department heads that we have. We need to let that be known, as well as, and this is something I got from the interior, putting work orders in from particular areas ahead of work orders for particular individuals that don't have nothing to do with each side.
Facts.
So anyway,
I know. When I call a department head or a department about a problem and I have, either I'll call them, as soon as a citizen calls me, I'll send an email to the appropriate department head, and I always ask for an update. And they're very good about getting on stuff right away and giving me an update so I can update the citizen in my dealings.
Yes. Well,
Yes.
Chris, Uncle Chris.
You sound like
uh,
one of my kids at school.
yeah, well, yeah, Dr. Chris. Let me just say this: the reason why I cut in, and I didn't mean to cut in on you, because I wanted you
You
to
good, big
call
bro.
names. I want you to say, "Hey, what side of town?" I don't know what side of town you're talking about.
Right. That's
I
why.
want to know this. Yeah,
That's why I didn't say a specific side of town.
yeah. Well, we
I
knew.
said among particular neighborhoods.
Right, but
Um,
I want to know because I'm dumb. I don't know I don't know
okay, so
who's
like,
getting.
Look,
okay, so
Terry,
like,
I'm
I've heard
talking about the side of town that you live in, Terry.
the
Yeah.
east majority,
Wait a minute now.
most of the.
Call it out like it is.
Okay, so
Right.
most of the east side of the city,
Yes,
which is a portion of Ward 4, all of Ward 3, yeah, all of Ward 3. The
that's
east
right.
side of the city receives mediocre treatment when
Okay,
it comes to our departments,
that's it.
whether it's streets, drainage, whether it's water, um,
Yeah,
regardless.
right.
And I know it to be a fact because
It is a fact. It is a
It's a
fact.
fact.
It's a
right.
fact. Okay,
So
it's a fact. But I want to make
and
sure
this
that
is something. This is something that as an advocate, I would say people a voice. I'm not gonna say an advocate. As a voice, people pour into me, and it has to come out of me.
right.
If I have the opportunity and or the ear of somebody that could change the dynamics of what is actually happening, I'm gonna beat that eardrum up. Don't I,
Yeah.
Chris?
Yes, you do.
Okay. All right. So we got that out the way because there's people listening and maybe watching and don't know what part of town you talked about.
Yeah.
So I want to
So
make sure
it's
But
not
that
the
that's a
specific side
that you
of
say
town.
what
For
side
all
of
the
town. Okay.
right. For all the
that
listeners
statement there.
and
I've
watchers
heard my whole life
Yeah.
yeah.
since I grew up in the Pear Orchard
Yeah.
in Terrell Park. I mean, I've heard it my
Well,
whole life. I bet it's not like that on the other side of town.
my
Man.
guess.
But and the thing about it though, we have a diverse community and different people live all over Beaumont,
That's
Texas.
right. All over.
Especially now.
Everywhere. Yeah.
All over.
You know.
All over. Hey, but
So
look, Chris.
we work hard. I hear that all the time and I think we work hard to eliminate that. That's why I'm glad we're doing 4th Street. I'm glad we got Washington Boulevard done. I mean, that's through the
Yes.
heart of my
Yes.
ward,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
and we got MLK, is good. We getting a lot of work done on in my
But
ward,
but I tell you what, 4th Street would be a blessing. It really will. Hey,
and
but listen.
also, they're redoing the wards because of the 2020 census.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
And Ward 4 is going to extend all the way through Old Town to Interstate 10.
okay.
Mhm.
Well, I got to stop you right here, Chris. This is
Okay.
something I want to ask you.
Mhm.
Now, the good news is 4th Street is going to be built new, repaved, redone from Calder to 69.
Mhm.
It, my concern now is sidewalks. This project is going to be including sidewalks?
Yeah, that has to go into the construction as it's being built per city charter.
Whatever they have now, if they have sidewalks there, I don't want to tell y'all the wrong thing about the sidewalks or not, because I've been told on some projects it's up to the developer to put in sidewalks. Other deals it's up to the city. So I don't really want to tell y'all wrong. I don't want to give you the bad information
Well,
on that.
Chris, I'm sorry. If there's no sidewalk, it's going to be some hell.
Yeah,
I'm going to call some hell if there's
yeah,
not no
we gonna
sidewalk.
definitely
So we're going to
call
have to
some
find out about that before this project gets off the
get
ground.
pushed on. Yeah.
Right. Hey, Chris, Kathy Ringate asking Councilman Durio, Chris, why are there so many new apartments complex being built in the West End, but there are not one in the Pear Orchard?
We actually in Ward 4, they're building an apartment complex, 2 of them on Cardinal Drive. One of them is in the process. It's closer, I guess, south
The
of
Beaman.
Florida.
Right.
And they're building a new one right there at Cardinal. I guess that would be just between Antioch and Fournette Road. They're building another apartment complex right there. Those complexes are needed. There is a housing shortage now. There's a long waiting list just in Ward 4 for people to get in the apartments.
Right.
So they are building apartment complexes in Ward 4 right now. When developers come in, they decide where they want to build them. Of course, we could point them in a certain direction and say, hey, why don't you build it here? But they go where they feel they want it, and they have to be approved. There just was a 2 apartment complexes that came before council, and they're both competing for the same tax breaks from the state and things. So we couldn't really pick both of them, and one neighborhood didn't want them, and one neighborhood, needed it and wanted it. So it was granted. We approved one in Ward 4. There's the other one over there off of Major and Phelan. The neighborhood didn't want it, and they were already building one credit corner from there by Westbrook. So they are building some here. Actually, I don't know. I know some of y'all do. Y'all remember Lincoln Terrace?
Yes. Oh,
Maple Street.
how we gonna not know Lincoln Terrace?
Well, some people it's
How we gonna
changed
not
names so
gonna
many
know about
times.
the
It's called
Terrace?
Maple, but they had a lot of complaints about the ownership of that place, and I got a lot of complaints. So I had a bunch of the tenants come before council because the lady had really been treating those folks bad and doing some bad things over there. But she ended up selling, and we got new ownership to come in and start fixing that place up. Fixing those a lot of those buildings. I mean, they still have blue roofs on them and things like that.
Yeah.
Grass need cutting, but we'll have somebody come in and fix that place up because there's a need for that.
It is.
Yes.
Those apartments been there since the war, from 2 generations ago, and that was a place. That was a starting place for everybody.
Yeah. Also, in the Pear Orchard, I've been working with different developers as far as buying vacant lots and developing them. We've been working to tear down these red tag homes and get that to different developers. And so we're building. They're building single family homes also. So that's another way of housing. That's a way for like first time home buyers to actually be a homeowner.
Well, I know
We're
that
doing that also.
there's been conversation about starting, and I belong to a group that's actually in the process of redeveloping a lot of red tagged houses, and they're in the process, or if I'm not mistaken, already um, established as what they would call red tag rescue. They would, as it's a veterans based group, but it's a community group that allows and offers training and certification from different organizations, and um, they go in and fix these homes, rewire, replumb, foundation, whatever is needed, carpentry, and I know some of the homes have some historical significance. I was looking at Mr. Patillo's homestead that's on the corner of Corley and Avenue F. I'm glad to see that being restored to its. I mean, like, yeah, you could take a picture from their old house and look at the picture that the gentleman is doing, or look at the house that the gentleman is doing now.
You talking about the dentist, Doctor
No, Robert Patillo.
Patillo,
Patillo, barbecue man, Mr. Patillo,
right?
on the corner of Carly and Avenue F.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think like
So,
all those apartments that's been built in the West End is fine, but you don't hear nothing about new sewer lift stations being built. You talking about adding 25 to 3,000 more toilets, and that sewage has to go somewhere, has to be treated somewhere. And I'm wondering why we hadn't got any new sewer lift stations in the West End, or really throughout Beaumont. And that's why
We,
people
we
have
did
so
we
many
did just have I think at either the last meeting or the meeting before that we approved some sewer lift stations.
out in the West End, or just in Beaumont,
I
period.
couldn't tell you exactly where they were.
yeah.
I just know that some was approved.
I'm on how I missed that. I try not to miss too much. I do.
But that's good, man, because you know what? We need informed citizens. You know,
Yeah.
you need to know exactly what's going on. I ran on being approachable and being accessible, and I think I've done that. I haven't really heard anyone say they had a hard time getting in touch with Councilman Durio, because I always call people back and I answer my emails. If I don't communicate and know what's going on with my ward, then I can't do what I was elected to do. So I try to stick to that. And, and keep my folks informed of what's going on.
We definitely need a new one out this way. So definitely.
Well, Chris, I'm proud of your work and what you're doing in Ward 4.
Exactly. 100.
And to keep it up, if you need us, need me, you know I'm here for you, and I'll do it. You've got a team, but I'm going to ask you to do one more thing for me before we close the show. Is don't you ever come on my show with that ugly ass cowboy shirt on.
Hey, before you go, I just wanted to a couple of notes I wrote, if I could just bring them up real fast.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. One, I tell everyone, use the 311 system. That's the best way to report any problem you have in the city of Beaumont, and keep a record of that. And that way you can go back, they can go back if they keep getting the same calls on the same location, then that shows that there's a trend right here. They check everything, but it's good to use that. Yeah. Also, we had our the Pear Orchard Neighborhood Association had a first meeting for a couple of years, the last Thursday in June, and they're going to be meeting the last Thursday of every month at the library on that road.
Not you.
We hear you, Alfred Dean. We understand.
We apologize, Councilman. Alfred Dean up there being messy, and Tony up there being messy right along with it.
He's not talking about me, is he?
No.
Say it, Alfred.
He should be with that old ugly jersey you got on.
Okay, a couple more things. I'm working on the Blossom area and 23rd Street area off of Washington. I'm working on getting their neighborhood association together. We're going to get South Park and Terrell Park Neighborhood Association kicked off also.
Really?
Yeah, I'm working on all that. Just talking to people, trying to get this stuff done. Really? And also on those red tag houses and overgrown lots and stuff like that, people don't really know the process of purchasing those. The best way, if you could find the owner, to go straight through the owner. But you can also come to the city and tell the city, hey, they got this property, I'm looking at getting it, and the city could contact the county and have it, put up for auction. And some of the properties that the city actually have liens on, if you purchase those and develop them within a certain amount of time, the city will waive those liens for you. And a lot of people didn't know that.
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah.
Hey, in response to that, because we know in this case, and we all for redevelopment, what emphasis is the city going to put into ensuring that this transfer of wealth does not end up, we already know it's almost out of the family's hands, but outside of the African American community's hands. So we don't just give this away.
That's period.
Well, it has to be purchased. Yes. It doesn't, even when the city knocks down a building, a red tag house, or cutting an overgrown lot, we don't take possession of that property. It still belongs to the owner. We just have a lien on it, or this county will have a lien on it for tax purposes. Right. But it doesn't belong to us. They have to go through the owner to buy that property. So I mean, it's the city. I don't know that we can tell a developer or somebody that wants to buy owner of a property that you can only sell to a certain type of person.
No, I wasn't saying sell. No, I was talking about the ownership of the land, not the selling.
Oh no, the ownership, it belongs to the owner. It doesn't belong to the city of Beaumont. We just have a lien. We would have a lien on it for either knocking it down or cutting the grass or whatever that we do.
So what I think I hear Perry asking is, why don't you approach
Is
the
that Perry Busby?
yes, sir.
Well, what's up, Perry?
um
Yes, sir. Wait,
like
good to hear you, Chris.
approaching the property owner as it is and have them with an incentive to develop their land, i.e.
But
duplex or
most of
i.e.
those
single family home.
Mo- most of those properties, the the owner, some of them don't even know that they own it. Some of them could care less. They don't want to have nothing to do with it. Some of them are heirs. You know, those
Right,
properties belong to their grandparents or something like that, and they don't live in the state anymore. And a lot of times they don't even know that they have this property. A lot of times you can call them and they say, "Man, I don't care. I don't care what you do with it. I don't want to have nothing to do. I'm not coming back to Beaumont,
right,
so do what you want."
right.
Hey,
But
You know?
Chris, that's what I'm saying because I understand they may not want to, but in the grand scheme of things, land wealth is the one thing that we can hold on to, and we know that people are prospecting. And so they will look at this as a land grab. And I'm not saying that we have to really, I understand reach out first to the family, but I'm just talking about the generational wealth of African American
Well,
wealth that
well,
will be lost
I can tell you,
if we don't look at it carefully. And I know that there's nothing you can't really so-called mandate and say no, you can't sell this, but I'm saying what sort of incentive in terms of a program can we help so that we understand we don't want to lose the Pear Orchard land.
understand, and
Right, yeah.
I understand that. And most of the folks that I've been talking to that's actually developing though that land are from the Pear Orchard. Young folks that's coming back. You know, there's some young folks that's coming back and they want to buy this property and they wanted to develop this land. So I mean, they're keeping it in the family, so say.
so
You
Right.
know,
let's
So
that's
I'm
the
saying,
ones that
can
I've
we
dealt
help
with. I know what you're
incentivize
talking about,
that?
especially you're talking about gentrification, correct?
Well, gentrification and also the loss of African American wealth, generational wealth,
Yeah.
in general. And so my thing is we put together tax incentives for businesses. What can we do in terms of an incentivizing, if not the family, those extended descendants? Because this is what we keep grappling with now in terms of not terms of finding out that we had land, but it was lost.
Oh, I mean, in those situations, I'm pretty sure that's something they would do. That would be something that we would have to talk about and think about and come up with a plan and put that plan into play. I think that's something that can happen. It's
I,
something that would have to be looked at. And it's a very good idea, you know, as far as passing on that generational wealth and stuff. And folks have to realize what's that word. I know my kids, I think they waiting for me to kill over right now and we get this place here. But I told them I'm gonna spend everything before I'm gone, so y'all not getting nothing.
yeah. Hey, but Chris, let's hit our comment right now so we can get them out the way. I was going to close the show, but
Okay.
we've got some more questions. Leslie Perkins, he says Tony hit it on the nail. Well, thank you. I hit it on the nail. Okay, thanks. Getting the problem solved around the city has been neglected for years. I've been trying to get someone to come out and look at the problem I'm facing, but can't get in touch with anyone. I even sent out emails and again, no response. My next step is the media. Maybe that will help get some attention. Now, I'm going to ask you, Mr. Perkins, what ward are you in? First of all, send us another text on the comments so we'll know what ward you're in, so we can kind of direct you to what you need to do.
I could tell Mr. Perkins you can call 311 or you can call 880-3777. That goes straight up to the executive suites
executive
and
office.
tell them where you live and they will get your message directly to your council person.
Thank you. Thank you. Aphrodine is asking, can I ask who owns the land where the old Sutherland Elementary School used to
I
sit?
think that still belongs to BISD.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I
yeah,
think so too.
it's still BISD's property.
So, Chris,
It
I'm
was on,
asking.
was on set. It was for sale though.
Yeah, it was.
Might want to check with purchasing, BISD purchasing, to find out what's what with that, Alfred.
Chris, I appreciate you, man. You've answered some of the questions that we need to know and our listeners needs to know. And I really need to know because my father passed away and left me with properties. And it was years before I knew what property I had. I thought I knew what I had, but I did. I would get mail from the city saying, "Hey, you owe us some money for the fines and the taxes." I said, "Well, wait a minute, I didn't know I even owned it."
Yeah. I just had to come to grips with my mother recently passing that I own a whole nother, myself and my siblings own a 5-acre plot out here in Terrell Park with a house on it.
Yeah.
And we're responsible for it now.
Yeah, I am. I'm responsible. I've got to pay the taxes on it. I got to pay the fees for the grass and high grass and everything else.
And I think that's where Perry was asking, are there any incentives for those individuals? And I know as a veteran, to get property put on the bid through the county bid or the county sale, all you have to do is just show an interest, and they will look into reaching out to the property owners.
And that's it's like that with the city
that you have
also. If you show an interest, they will try to get you in contact, or at least contact if they find. I don't know if they'll give you the owner's information, but they will contact the owner for you.
Right. I was about to say they won't give them your info. They won't give the owner information, but they'll definitely reach out to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate you, big bro.
Man, it's been a pleasure having you on.
Terry, I'm still waiting for you to throw that big softball up for me. I ain't got nothing but fastballs and curveballs today.
I'm being good, man.
Hey, see,
I'm being good today.
And I told you I was going to throw you some little soft pitches. But when I saw that number 21 and that ugly cowboy,
like I said, a lot of my issues is really my issues is really not with Chris, because I don't live in Ward 4. Now Ward 2, that'd be different.
But I do say this: I work with people that live in other wards, especially if folks know me. I don't mind. I will inform that particular council person, hey, this person called with this problem, but I work for the citizens of Beaumont, Ward 4 in particular. And man, I just want to thank you, man. I know last year at this time I didn't want to have nothing to do with podcasts, but I'm more comfortable now because I just feel I know more about what I'm talking about.
Right.
I was looking forward to it.
Yes.
And thank you for talking with us.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. I really do.
For your honesty, man, your transparency is dope. I promise. I already told you that, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like I told you, and his accessibility is phenomenal, people. I mean, like, it's strange people that walk up to this man, and of course, as a man, we have that strange who the hell are you kind of look, but he's always and he's very approachable. Yeah,
I might have to move to Ward 4 then. So.
I learned a few months into this job, I'm not gonna please everybody. I'm always gonna take hits for stuff, so I just be honest and transparent.
Yeah.
If I hear about it, I hear about it. If don't, and if people come, and another thing, I do read all the comments on social media. I will not get into an argument on social media, but I will contact folks.
Right.
I send them a DM with my phone number, say, hey, give me a call. Or if I see them out in public, I say, hey, I saw what you put on Facebook, let's talk about it. Because like I say, some people don't have good information, and I like to keep folks informed.
Yeah. Well, I see you on Tuesday, man.
We're not having no meeting this Tuesday.
No meeting this Tuesday.
Two Tuesdays in a row?
Wow.
This week we have some council members that are under the weather.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
When are we going to hear the announcement about the new council or the new
next Tuesday?
Manager? Next Tuesday? Not the following Tuesday, right?
Following Tuesday, yeah.
We're hoping for before the end of this month that should be done. And we're actually ahead of schedule because at first when we started this process, they told us it would take anywhere from 6 months to a year. But we think we're close to finishing that process up.
All right. Well, I got to say this, and we're going to close up the show. We appreciate everybody that's watched and listened to us and share our podcast everywhere you go. And Chris, we thank you again. I want to tell my cast here is that Chris can cook too, son. Oh, yeah, that boy
And
can cook,
I
man.
heard that.
Yeah, he can burn, boy. Hey.
I heard that.
He don't have to invite me. I just go.
I really don't have to invite Tony. I'll be like, what you doing here, man? Oh, I was
I crashed the party, baby. I
He
crashed
spilled
the
the
party.
pot. That's
I did
what
come naked. All right. Hey, Chris, thanks for guy, baby. Thank you, man.
Thank you for watching Knowledge is Power Podcast Live. Be sure to like and subscribe to all Knowledge is Power social media pages.